We're excited to talk with Key Lime Interactive's Director of Quantitative Research, Dana Bishop, and our User Experience Researcher, Phil McGinnis, about the 2015 Holiday Shopping Report and the results from its January post-holiday survey of 500 consumers. This report focuses on consumer spending behaviors as it relates to online and mobile purchases during the holiday season. So without further ado, let me introduce our presenters. We have Dana and Phil, who both joined the team 2 years ago. Dana has 20 years of experience in UX and has been our lead author of hundreds of industry reports for retail, travel, financial services, and many more. Phil has also been our expert in design and programming of online surveys. He has extensive experience as a data analyst and our study co-developer. So before we get started, we're going to jump right in, but I want to cover quickly a couple of guidelines for you guys to keep in mind throughout the next 30 minutes. We do want this talk to be interactive for you guys, so there'll be 2 channels where you can ask questions in real time during the webinar. The first one could be posting your question in the chat window on your right that you'll see. You can also follow the conversation with us on Twitter using the hashtag KLIEvents. We have allotted time at the end of this discussion for Q&A, and we're going to do our best to get to everyone's questions. For questions we may not get a chance to answer, we will email you directly following this webinar. So without further ado, I think this is a great place for me to pass it off to Phil for our first talking point.
All right. Thanks, Kelly. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar. I'll just get us started here. First, we're going to go over the research approach and methodology, and then we'll jump into the survey results. And let me just get that up here. Thank you. So on the approach and methodology, we ran this in early January, from January 6th to the 11th. It was about 26 questions long, and we surveyed 500 consumers. And we primarily focused on consumer spending behavior as it relates to online and mobile purchases during the holiday season. So what does that mean? The main topics were the top triggers and influencers that lead consumers to make online and mobile purchases, usage of different channels and different devices, especially, which retailers are winning in the online and mobile channels. We wanted to know if consumers spent more or less online this year and why they were doing that. Whether mobile purchases were increasing or decreasing and why. What made for the best online and mobile experiences while shopping. And then when using retailer apps, what were the pros and cons of using an app versus, say, shopping online? So just to quickly go over the participant profile, as I mentioned, we had 500 participants, fairly even split of males and females. We did restrict to ages 18 to 59, but we left the household income open, so we got a wide range of incomes. And then the only other restrictions we made were that everyone had to have made an online purchase in the past, and they had to own either a laptop or desktop, a smartphone, or a tablet. So still very broad, any of those devices and you're in. In terms of age, as I mentioned, 18 to 59, we had a fairly even split of participants across the ranges, with even a few in the 18 to 20-year-old range. Gender was about 52% male, or female, excuse me, and 48% male. And then, as you can see, household income had a wide spread from 0 to 10,000 all the way up to 200,000 plus. And in devices, you'll see we're split into desktops and laptops up top, iPhone and Android smartphones in the middle, and then tablet devices down below. And we had a mix of different devices owned. And that's really it for the panelist profile. I'm going to pass it over to Dana for some of the survey results.
Great, thanks, Phil. And thank you, Kelly, and thank you for everyone who attended today, who's able to join us. Appreciate you being here. So here at Key Lime, we've been doing research in the retail industry now for years, and we were very excited to run this survey earlier this month to get a pulse of kind of where consumers are in terms of shopping behaviors this holiday season specifically. So we wanted to learn some things about mobile and online shopping, the role that they're playing, and specifically what factors are driving any changes in shopping behaviors from the past. So let's start with the most fundamental of questions. Where do consumers shop the most? Okay. Excuse this. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So where did consumers shop the most? So Walmart and Target dominated the in-store sales, not surprisingly, both with more than 50% of those surveyed saying that they made in-store purchases this past holiday season in one or both of those stores. Amazon leads in both the online and mobile channels with similar numbers. That's about 50% for online. And by online, when I say that, I mean shopping from a desktop or laptop computer. And then we see just below 25% in terms of the mobile channel, so using a smartphone or a tablet, also on Amazon. So those were sort of the biggest numbers we saw there. We've got a longer list here, obviously, with a number of different retailers. And again, we're very curious about sort of where that fell out in terms of in-store, online, and on mobile. In terms of sort of when people shop, so these so-called special designated holiday shopping days. Black Friday was the most popular, with just under 2/3 of consumers saying that they took advantage of sort of Black Friday shopping discounts. And about half of those surveyed said that they shopped on either Cyber Monday and or during now what's being called Cyber Week, that whole week after Thanksgiving. And while Small Business Saturdays attracted the fewest number of shoppers, with just 17% saying that they participated in that special shopping day. We also asked people to rank the importance of 20 different aspects of shopping online or from a mobile device in their experience this past holiday season. So on the screen you'll see there are just 10 listed here, but the full list was about 20 different factors. And we asked them to rank what was the most important thing in terms of, again, we were kind of focused this question just on online and mobile shopping during the holiday season. And what came out on top was free shipping. That was ranked as the number one factor by a large majority in terms of influences for mobile and online shoppers, with 43% of the consumers we surveyed. And again, we surveyed 500 consumers, so 43% of them ranked that as the #1 influencer, followed by convenience. It's not up on screen, but there were 27% who ranked that as their #1 factor. So in terms of the retail industry, we find this very interesting. In something that in my years of doing retail research is certainly a shift. So it used to be that convenience was the top factor for driving online shopping. Having to pay for shipping was sort of the downside, or the trade-off, if you will, to the convenience factor. But now with many of the top retailers offering free shipping, Amazon Prime, of course, customers get the free 2-day shopping year-round. But this year, many of the larger retailers, including Walmart and Target, as well as Best Buy, and just to name a few, all offered free shipping for online purchases and mobile purchases during the holiday season. So these aren't permanent deals, but as you can see on some of these screenshots on screen, there were specific sort of holiday season-long advantages to buying online for free shipping. So again, this is an interesting shift that we've seen over time, and definitely something that consumers are responding to. And you'll see in the next few slides. So we asked people in their own estimation to compare to last year. So compare, your behavior this year to last year, any changes in the method that you use to purchase or the channel. So we found that compared to last year, consumers spent more money this year online and on their mobile phones. Online is the leader with 55%. So again, the graph that you're looking at here is grouped into 3 sort of categories: less at the bottom, about the same in the middle, the dark green, and then more. And again, we saw 55% saying they spent more money shopping online this year than last year, and we saw 31% of consumers spent more shopping on their mobile phone this year compared to last year. pretty interesting. Then we sort of broke it down. Again, this is across a broad category of age ranges from 18 to 59. We broke it down by age, and we saw some interesting differences. One of them being that shopping online from a computer increased evenly across all age categories. There was no significant differences between people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. However, we saw 31%, but shopping on a mobile phone increased the most among consumers under the age of 40. So those under 40, we saw 40% of them say that they had shopped more on their mobile phone this year compared to last year. So that was really the significant difference that we saw in terms of age. So naturally, we were curious about the reasons for this uptick in mobile shopping. So we asked and analyzed the responses from the 500 people that we surveyed, and we saw kind of three strong themes, if you will, emerge. And those were the ease of researching and comparing prices with their mobile phones while in a store, convenience of mobile shopping on the go, anywhere, anytime, my phone's always with me. And then the third one was sort of an improved mobile optimized experience. So more of the sites are mobile optimized, making it easier. There are more apps available. So again, sort of improvements in the user experience in terms of shopping on a mobile device. And the top reasons for that increase that we saw in online shopping, and again, what I mean by online is really just using a laptop or desktop computer. And we saw that also kind of fall out into a few major categories. One is more products are available online to purchase. So it's really, people really attributing that to their change in behaviors. I can basically find almost anything I'm looking for online. Second one is paying for shipping, no longer being a deterrent. So again, that used to be the trade-off or the downside to the convenience of online shopping. Between Prime and a lot of the other large retailers offering free shipping, this has really been one of the influencers, one of the top influencers. And then lastly, that desire to avoid the crowds, the lines, combined with the ability to get, what they consider good or the best prices online, is the other major factor. Okay, so then we sort of ask consumers to boil it down, summarize or describe in their own words what made for their best experiences while they were shopping either online or using a mobile phone, mobile app. And the themes kind of fell out into 6 categories or 6 areas. So free shipping, as I've already mentioned, the ability to compare products and prices, an availability, a wide selection of products available online. Again, it's quick and easy, so it's sort of pain-free, quick and easy, deals. So whether it was Black Friday deals, Cyber Week deals, being able to enter a discount code or promotional code online and receive a discount. And then, of course, last but not least, the convenience factor. So I can shop when I want, where I want, how I want, no crowds, no lines to deal with, and the gifts are shipped directly to me or to who I'm buying it for. Those are kind of what it boiled down to in terms of, again, asking people to sort of open-endedly what made for that best experience. So we also asked about browsing and purchasing. So we were curious whether people use different devices while they were looking, right, or browsing for gifts versus actually making the purchases. So what we found were more consumers browsed or looked fairly often or mostly using the computer or smartphone compared to using their tablet or in stores. So when it came to just kind of looking, researching, browsing. When it came down to purchasing, we saw 69% saying that either fairly often or mostly they bought online using their computer, followed closely behind the 57% who either fairly often or mostly made their purchases in stores. Smartphone and tablets were used least frequently for actual purchases. So then we asked people to, sort of take it one step further and just select one method. So a preferred method. If they had to just choose one, what would be their preferred method for purchasing gifts during the past holiday season? Consumers overwhelmingly preferred using a laptop or desktop computer, with 59% stating that as their most preferred method. And then preference for mobile, if you look at those numbers for smartphone and tablet, and you combine those, you get 21%, which is really equivalent to purchasing in store, which is at 20% as the preferred method. So that's rather interesting. But again, online is king here and wins out by a fairly large margin. Again, we were kind of interested in, and wanted to break this down by age a little bit, and found some interesting differences. So when we broke out these numbers by different age groups, we found that 70% of consumers in their 50s preferred holiday shopping on their computer. So that's significantly higher than the average across all age groups. And that's our highest age group who we surveyed, the folks in their 50s. Then we looked at the lower end and consumers in their 20s, and we saw 20% of them saying that they preferred to do their holiday shopping on their smartphone. Again, significantly higher than any other particular age group. That one's not as surprising. And then we would expect to see the youngest age groups much more likely to use their mobile phones for shopping. Then we asked people to sort of quantify, if you will, the amount of the holiday shopping that was done online versus mobile versus in-store, and quantify it in terms of none or very little, some of it, or all or most of it, all or a lot of it, excuse me. So 2 out of 3 consumers did a lot or all of their holiday shopping online, again, sticking with that same theme. So not only do they prefer it, but they actually ended up doing a lot or most of it. And the least amount of holiday shopping was done in small local stores or with a tablet. Again, we looked at the age breakdown to see if there was anything interesting here, and we saw that consumers were definitely split by age in terms of shopping using their mobile phone. So when we looked at consumers under the age of 40, 31% said that they used their mobile phone for a lot or all of shopping. And then compared to those age 40 and up, 56% did none or very little. So again, we're really seeing a divide there in terms of under 40, over 40, and mobile phone usage for holiday shopping. So I'd like to hand the floor, in addition to really focusing on the holiday shopping season, we also had some questions in there regarding kind of year-round mobile shopping behaviors, and I'd like to hand the floor back over to Phil.
Unmuted.
Walk us through the results from those questions.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dana. So as you mentioned, I'm going to go over more general year-round mobile shopping trends now. So as I mentioned earlier, we looked at the top triggers for mobile shopping. Oh, sorry, I seem to have lost it. Oh, there we go. So some of the top triggers for mobile shopping, and what does that mean? We asked, how often do the following reasons prompt you to use your mobile device for shopping-related activities? And we found the number one was to check prices or comparison shop on your phone. These were people that answered, these triggers always or often make me use my mobile device. Number two, a close number two, was researching things I might want to buy, so just general research. Followed by 42% who just said, I have free time or I'm bored, and that's triggering them to pick up their phone or tablet and do some mobile shopping. Then we also had to purchase an item at 35%, and an interesting one, seeing something in the store, but the size or color wasn't available. So it's that, you're in a place of business, and apps like Amazon have a barcode scanner where you can actually scan a barcode and it'll show you on Amazon what that item is. So maybe they're now stealing some business from a brick and mortar just by doing that. Now some related findings, and this is during the holiday season specifically, we found that 73% of people use their computer or mobile device to do comparison shopping. So that's almost 3 out of every 4 people doing that kind of comparison shopping. We also found 43% of people kept a shopping list of gift ideas on their mobile phone, and then 40% sent and or received an email or text message with a link to a specific product to purchase online. So what does that mean? Here's one quote, for example. I'm able to have my children search for and tell me exactly what they want so I don't purchase the wrong thing. So if you ever have a significant other or children with really specific hobbies, it's great that they can now send you a link and then you can just purchase it, or vice versa. So we found 40% of people doing that kind of newer behavior in online shopping. Now looking at mobile app use, we asked people how often they use their favorite retailer's mobile app. So it was kind of open, just whatever their favorite was, how often are you using it? And we found 33% said often, another third said sometimes, and then about 25% said rarely or never, but there was also 7% who said they always or exclusively use their favorite retailer's mobile app to shop online. And it's no surprise, but in the related findings, the top apps used were Amazon at 58%, and then trailing significantly behind Walmart and Target. And that kind of mimics what we saw earlier in terms of not the market share, but how many people were shopping at those different stores and online. And then looking at the pros and cons of using a mobile app, we had on the pros side convenience, checking prices, using coupons or comparison shopping. Some examples, because it's accessible at all times. When I'm not around a computer, I can use my phone. I think we're all familiar with that. Checking for sales and coupons. I know recently I went to Costco, and their app is full of just coupons that you can clip within the app to make save it to your list, so when you go in the store, you remember it. So it's kind of integrating that online experience with shopping on your mobile phone. Being able to shop and compare in stores on my phone as well. Now on the con side, you have things like screen size, having to download apps in the first place, finding it easier online versus using an app, and then security concerns as well. So a few people here mentioned that their phone doesn't have much storage space for apps, or they prefer not to download them just to fill up their phone. They say it's just not pleasant using something so small when one can use a laptop or desktop to shop online. So those were kind of the themes about what's good and bad about using a mobile app. We looked at mobile app downloads. So we asked, how likely are you to download or use a mobile app from a retailer you typically shop at? And we found with the smartphones on the left, 42% of people were likely to use that, whereas on the right with the tablet, only 28%. So that might go back to the kind of screen size issues. On a tablet, a mobile site, or even a regular site might be more accessible, but with a mobile app, you might need something more tailored to your mobile app experience, to your smaller phone experience. And then finally, with mobile purchasing, we asked, in the next 3 months, how likely are you to make a purchase on your smartphone or tablet? We found that 42% said they were likely to use their smartphone for a purchase, compared to 29% for a tablet. And some interesting differences by age. When we segmented out consumers in their 30s, we found that 53% of them were likely to use their smartphone to make a purchase, compared to in their 50s, only 28% using their smartphone to make a purchase. So very significant difference between those age groups, which is expected, but still a large difference. All right, now we have time for some questions, and I saw a few trickle in as we were talking. One person asked if there's going to be a copy of the presentation available, and we will actually have that on demand on our website, keylimeinteractive.com, so you can go there and access it. And let's see. So here's one, and I'm going to pitch this over to Dana, I think. What do you think was the most surprising finding or result from the survey? What do you think?
Most surprising. I think I have to go back to the prevalence of online shopping. Well, I'm not surprised that has seen a recent increase. I am surprised that the numbers for the 50 and up. Sorry, I'm having a little webcam issue here.
Popping in and out.
So I'm not surprised that the numbers for overall that it's increased, but I was surprised to see that in terms of people in their 50s, that number being significantly higher than any other group. So if you remember, the average across all age groups was 59%, saying that they did more shopping online, that their preferred method was shopping online using their computer. When we looked at it by age, 70% of people in their 50s, that was their preferred method. So again, I see that as a really interesting trend. I think the younger, under 40, 20s and 30s, mostly using their mobile phones more, being comfortable, and for mobile purchases is not as surprising. But it's interesting that online is definitely not only had it increased across all age groups, but even more so with the older demographics as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Here's another one. So, given these results, what avenues of research do you think it would be worth following up on? Do you want to take that? You go first.
Okay. Well, we were excited to run this, and this is something that we intend to benchmark, right? So Phil and I are both in our competitive research division here at Key Lime, and we're excited to now use this as our baseline to benchmark changes in shopping behavior over time. We're specifically obviously interested in influence of mobile and online shopping, and we're excited to keep benchmarking this and seeing how things shift over time, and if any of those factors and influencers, like I mentioned earlier, doing a lot of retail studies over the years, and really not that many years ago, really doing a holiday shopping study that really showed that the online had its ups and downs, and a lot of people were wavering because they didn't want to spend the money on shipping, and that they'd rather just brave the stores and go with the experience that they were familiar with rather than paying more, and the perception was, sure, it's more convenient, but I'm going to have to pay more. I have to pay for shipping. I'm not going to get those great Black Friday deals. I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to march out to the stores and I'm going to fight over the cheapest sweater. And we've really seen retailers be really smart about even just limited time. Forget Amazon Prime membership where you get your free 2-day shipping year-round. But some of the other big retailers, like I said, between Walmart and Best Buy and Target and some of the other big retailers doing the limited time shopping really paid off this year for them.
Yeah, and I would say that's definitely a really interesting angle for me. I'm kind of interested in how brick and mortar retailers will kind of fight back against this ongoing trend. So we've seen things like Walmart's app integrates your credit card into it, so when you're in the store you can just scan a QR code and go right through checkout. So they're simplifying that in-store process. They're allowing you to use in-store coupons and things like I mentioned with Costco. So even if you're not capturing the mobile sales so much, you're still using the mobile usage to drive people into the stores and get a new, fresh experience while you're in there.
Right, and I should mention that what Phil is talking to is another study that we're developing for the retail industry, is that connection between brick and mortar and mobile. So.
Mm-hmm. And then I think we have time for one more here. I'm going to go ahead and read that off.
Okay.
Do you think that as mobile payments like Apple Pay get adopted, purchasing in-store will be more palatable to younger groups like millennials? So that kind of goes back to what we're talking about. I mean, a lot of the things we saw today were about free shipping. They were about convenience, and how do you fight back against that? I don't think Apple Pay necessarily is going to do it, but it's a step in the right direction. I think it's going to take a lot of driving towards that convenience factor, somehow fighting back against free shipping, maybe cheaper in-store prices, make it worth it, something to make that worth it, because shopping online has just become so easy and convenient with things like Prime.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for now. If there's any other questions, we'll follow up on those via email, but I'm going to pass it back to Kelly to kind of wrap us up here.
Thanks so much, Dana and Phil. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you all for attending today. We hope you're able to get a lot out of it. If you are interested to find out more about our upcoming 2016 Retail Competitive Index Report, or you just want to discuss with PLM Interactive how we can help your specific research needs, you can always get in touch with us at info@keylimeinteractive.com. If you have any questions about this webinar, feel free to reach out to marketing@keylimeinteractive.com. So again, thank you, and